Cheers. Welcome back, guys, to Tackles and Tinnies. We're up to episode 32 of total. We're going through the whole entire list from 2025 regarding all the teams' reviews / previews. I've skipped only two teams in order, which is the West Tigers, which I'd like to do with Chris. And I've also skipped the South Sydney Rabbitohs because I would like to do that with Morgan. Two diehard fans. Again, ideally in a perfect world, the mates who I've got who are diehard fans of those teams, I would love to bring them on and get their perspective. Otherwise, it's going to hear me yap and yap, which obviously is a good thing too. But guys, today we're doing the Sydney Roosters. We're finally into the top 8. We're out of the dungeon of mediocrity. But let's get straight into it. So the Sydney Roosters 2025/2026 preview. So where did the Roosters rank in 2025? They got 8th with 13 wins and 11 losses with a plus for and against of 132. They managed to score 653 points, which was the 5th best attack in the league, and only conceded 521, which was the 8th best overall. They were 6 wins, 6 losses at home, and 7 wins and 5 losses away from home. And in their final stretch, which was very clutch, they managed to get 4 wins and 1 loss. And pretty much, guys, that's what got them into the final. So, big picture, looking at 2025, still a great team on paper, but never fully clicked or had that overall cohesion in my eyes for long stretches of time, particularly in obviously the first half of the season. And a big reason to that, in my opinion, was Sam Walker coming back from an ACL injury. Overall, I thought they did well. Obviously, had some young guys like Savala come in, but we'll talk about that very, very soon. Frustrating for Sydney Roosters fans, as I could imagine for you. Obviously, as I just said, on paper, you guys should be one of the best teams in the comp, but really struggled with consistency and, getting guys on the park for a long period of time. You had some guys who come back, which we'll mention very shortly, but let's just keep moving on. 2025 season story, how they actually went in my eyes. So again, top 5 attack, fantastic, plus 132. When they got it right, they blew teams off the park. And we talked about the Dolphins game not too long ago in their review. And again, I'll quickly bring that one up for you guys. But that game pretty much locked them in until the top 8. So it was in round 23. It was the Dolphins versus the Roosters. That was at Suncorp. So it was technically a Dolphins home game. Huge game. Okay. And they won 64-12. That was pretty much the definitive factor. I've talked about that in great detail in the Dolphins review. So guys, check that out in our Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your fixture of tackles and tinnies. But that's a huge win for them. Huge, huge win. However, defense was solid. Again, it was a top 8 team. But again, they were still leaky. Again, you're looking at, let's say, the last couple of games. Round 25, lost to the Eels 30-10. Good, not great. Then you could obviously go back a couple other weeks. Lost to the Sharks in round 20, 31-18. You're still conceding a fair few points. Round 18, 28 points to the Roosters, 30 points to West Tigers. You're still conceding too many points for teams who shouldn't be blowing you out of the park, or there was too much of a margin between the games, which didn't let you have a chance at the very end of the game to get back in. So personally, the overall vibe, classic Roosters roller coaster year. Looked good in patches, managed to get through the origin period, particularly with Tedesco not being selected. However, weren't good enough to get into the top 4, which, again, if you're not in the top 4, guys, very hard to get to the grand final. Again, they snuck into the top 8 by a bee's dick, literally just got in. Again, the Dolphins were right on their tail. Again, they did make the top 8, which is still very, very good. However, they did lose to the Sharkies, which they have struggled against, as I mentioned before. They lost to them in round 20, 31-18. However, they lost to the Sharks in round 1 of the finals, 20-10. And again, the Sharkies are very good defensively. I thought, again, the Roosters at times were quite clunky in attack. They couldn't just click. But they've got a few recruits this year, guys, and lost very few players. They should be looking pretty good and dangerous for the 2026 season. I want to hear from you guys. What are your first thoughts on the Sydney Roosters? Like emotional, just give me a full emotion. What was your first thoughts regarding the 2025 season? Good news is, guys, you still got the same coaching staff. You still got Trent Robinson leading at the helm. Proven premiership winner. Still very respected amongst all his colleagues. Players obviously seem to play for him, which is fantastic as well. However, has, I guess, the league sort of read how he plays and how he coaches? Has he sort of got their systems down pat? Definitely needs to evolve, in my opinion. But again, he's had a fair few turnover with some very good players as well. But the Roosters, in true Roosters standard, had the salary cap sombrero. Should have got my Akubra back on. But yeah, Trent Robinson still there, still one of the best coaches in the league. So Roosters fans, you should be very happy there. But again, top quality talent, should be better in defense. And I think, again, that was probably their letdown overall. Again, could still manage to score points. Roster movement, so they're in and out. Again, I'm on the NRL.com signings page here. So one big guy who's off contract we'll talk about shortly is Angus Crichton. He's only there till the end of this year. There's definitely murmurs that he could be potentially going to rugby union. I know Roosters and Roosters fans would love to re-sign him. However, yeah, we'll see. A lot of potential change there. Billy Smith, he signed there until the end of 2027. Finally, the guy was healthy, which was great to hear and see. Red hot talent when he's on the park. Consistency for him and confidence in his body is probably the biggest thing. Blake Steep, he's there to the end of 2028. Got some games here and there, but wasn't a consistent first grader. Obviously, still very young. Cody Ramsey, another young fella. We'll talk about him very soon in regards to players to watch for 2026. But yeah, he's here at 2027. Connor Watson, Mr. Fix-It, put him anywhere. Center, in the halves, hooker, utility off the bench, number 13, Mr. Fix-It, and he was perfect for Origin in that regard as well. Does he start for 2026? We'll have to see in the top 19 preview there. Daly Cherry Evans, the ringer, the silent assassin coming in. Well, not so silent with the Manly exit. Again, check out my thoughts in the Manly podcast that I done not too long ago. But yeah, 1-year contract, more than likely last year. But again, I'm not going to say definitively. As we saw, he's still got it. The last couple of rounds with Cherry Evans, he absolutely killed it. I think having Sam Walker, guys like Tedesco there, guys like Reece Robson, who we're about to talk about as well, Connor Watson, there's plenty of talent around him. He's not going to do so much heavy lifting. That could potentially extend his career even further. What do you guys think? Do you think Cherry Evans will extend past the 2026 season, or is it more, hey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you sign here for 1 year, then we'll give you a coach's role? I don't know. You tell me. Daniel Tupou, what can we say about him? Absolute gun. Still one of the best and most consistent wingers. Absolute cheat code on that left wing under the high ball. Could easily play Origin. Still so good. Early 30s. Yeah, he's got the fountain of youth, Mr. Tupou. Would love to see him at least resign for another year till end of 2027. I'll make a comment now. I'm looking through this quite in detail. A lot of guys will be off contract at the end of 2027. They'll be flush with cap space, but we might have to talk about that one later. Va'a, he's there to end of 2027. The Butcher boys, Egan and Nat Butcher, they're both there to 2027. Junior Pargo, 2027. Jake Elliott, 2027. Tedesco, he's there to 2027. Will that be his last year? Again, like Junior Tupou, there might be something at Bondi Beaches with the Fountain of Youth. Give me some of that, please. Tedesco could play to his 40, honestly. He's so fit. He really did some sprint training at the start of the 2024 season. That's done wonders for his game. Again, more talent around him, meaning we'll have to do less work, meaning is, pardon me, guys, doing less work, meaning that he should be able to extend his career further on. Probably will have to take a pay cut, I'm saying, just to the fact there's so much talent and there's smoky guys that could be coming at the end of this season. But we'll get to that one soon. Next up, we got Junior Tupou. He's a new signing from the Manly Seagulls, utility outside back. Perfect extended bench guy in my eyes, but there's a couple guys fighting for that same position. But again, we'll get to that later on the podcast, as you guys know, regarding our top 19 preview. Lindsay Collin, gun front rower, hard nose, got that dog, got that aggression, John Cena-esque haircut. Love to see it. He's there to 2028. Origin mainstay, Australian mainstay. yeah, he's a great buy and great culture guy as well. Next up, we got Marky Mark or Mark Nwanganitawase. Guys, let me know how I'm going with the pronunciation there. I thought I killed it. But yeah, Marky Mark, last year in Roosters colours, okay, he was absolutely fantastic in the last half of the season. Again, played junior rugby league. However, most of his football was in rugby union, obviously, playing for the Wallabies in more recent times. He's going back to play in the World Cup. Might come back after that. We will see. But yeah, Marky Mark, very good chance to make New South Wales Blues this year as well, particularly with the Zach Lomax situation. Go on to my Tackles and Tinnies Instagram, YouTube Shorts, or TikTok on my thoughts about that one. I talked about the Butcher Boys, Nafahu White. Okay, he's there to 2029. Absolute gun. I'm going to give all the roses to him later on in this podcast. But I thought overall, Nafahu White was one of your best players, Roosters fans. You should be so happy he's there to 2029. Only 23 years old. He's not even in his prime yet. He's only going to get better. His confidence is only gaining traction. I'm expecting huge things from him. I loved watching him in the Pac Nations, but I'll get to that later on the podcast. Another guy that you've brought in for this year, absolute gun, is Reece Robson. Cowboys, New South Wales, hooker. Definitely could be playing for Australia if Harry Grant wasn't there. He's there to 2029. He's going to be very good for you guys. Absolute tackle bot, good from dummy half, very strong in contact. Yeah, great service from dummy half. I think he's very underrated pickup for you guys for the 2026 season. I think it could be the difference of being in the top 8 versus the top 4, personally. Absolute gun. A guy we won't talk about too much, but Ruben Garrick, he's obviously signed for 2027. He's the Marky Mark replacement. He's got a 3-year contract with the Roosters for 2027. Great pickup, a 1-for-1 trade. Again, there's some other smoky guys that I'll talk about later who could be joining him. But yes, Ruben Garrick, great pickup. Robert Toya, Queensland, Tongan international, came back from an ACL injury, signed to the end of 2029. So happy for him that he got his body right. And when Billy Slater picked him for the Queensland team, my God, it was a bit like, are you sure, Billy? Like, young, unproven, played less than 10 first-grade games. And my God, he did so good defensively against Latrell Mitchell. And then obviously in attack, it speaks for himself. So Robert Toya, great to see him healthy. Great to see him starting consistently and obviously playing international football and Queensland, respectfully. Salifo Ketty, he's there to 2027, had a couple of first-grade games. We'll talk about him in players to watch for 2026. New mobile type forward, perfect for the new era of football. But again, we'll talk about him soon. Sammy Walker, there to 2027, came back halfway through the season from his ACL injury. When he came back, only took him a couple of games, and my God, he was red hot. He was red hot when he came back. Huge attacking upside, very small body, but bloody hell, he plays above his weight. Roosters fans, let me know. Sam Walker, does he get a Queensland start in the next 2 years? I want to know. Is he next man up when Cameron Munster goes? Let me know in the comments. Sua Wong, he's there to 2026. Love to see him get a contract extension. I think he's still underutilized, but with the salary cap sombrero of at full rim, Sua Wong struggles to get in the park. And again, that comes down to the awesome depth that the Roosters have built over the past couple of years. Can play edge, can play middle, could play 80 minutes if you need to, could even shift to the centers. Okay, great player, only getting better. Love to see it. Spencer Lenu, he's there to 2027. Started a few games, came off the bench for a few games, got suspended for a few games. It's the Spencer Lenu roller coaster. Can be overly aggressive and just have a meltdown on the field, which then results into a penalty or a sin bin, which costs the team. I think overall, there's more pros than cons, and obviously he's the most ideal impact forward off a bench. So yeah, he's there 2027. Toby Rodwell, he's there to 2028. He's a young upcoming player. I believe, going off my notes here, Toby Rodwell is a young halfback. Yeah, so he's 19 years old. Don't think he's going to get too much of a crack in 2026. He's only, as I mentioned, 19 years old. You got DCE, you got Sammy Walker, and you got Savala in front of him, but he's the man after that. So again, he might get a sniff if there's injuries, but at this stage, I think he's more of a developmental player. And then finally, to round out the squad, you've got Victor Radley. What can we say about Radley? Hyper aggressive player, fantastic in contact, can play at lock, can play at second row. He's Sammy Walker's bodyguard when he's there. Kind of like him for that reason there. And now with Reece Robson in the team, that lets Connor Watson shift more into a middle role as well. Where does Victor Radley play in 2026, guys? I want to hear from you guys in the comments as well. So confirm new signings. Again, I'll quickly go over these. I just talked about them. Reece Robson, huge recruitment, Origin level 9, could play for Australia. Solves their long-term hooking position. Huge monumental upside. Complements their spine perfectly. DCE, 1-year contract. Marquee signing. Will help with relieving some pressure off Sammy Walker being the only marquee attacking weapon besides Tedesco. Great kicking game. Yeah. Winning premiership player. Great experience. What will his role be exactly? Probably playing 5'8". Many questions to be answered, but I think Cherry Evans will fit him perfectly. Cody Ramsey, again, outside back depth, but we just briefly talked about him. We'll talk about it again later on in the podcast. Tommy Talau, I think, is a very underrated and sort of late-ish pickup within the off-season here. Utility outside back coming from Manly Sea Eagles, provide great cover in, well, particularly the wing and the centre position. He's big enough to play in the second row. Maybe an ideal 19th man if the extended bench goes through. But yeah, Tommy Talau, very, very good in his own right. Now, again, I mentioned previously with Ruben Garrick, he's there in 2027. Fantastic pickup, replacing Mark Nwanga-Nitawase. Can goal kick. I project Sammy Walker to goal kick, but yeah, very reliable. Can play wing, can play centre, can play fullback. Very durable play as well. Touch wood. But yeah, not there for 2026, but then worthy noting that he'll be transitioning in the next year. Now, love smoky chat here in Tackles and Tinnies, guys. But I'm hearing murmurs, and this has been for a while, particularly with Joey Manu, but I'm also hearing and seeing Joseph Suali'i to return in potentially as early as 2027. If Tedesco retires at the end of 2027, you're going to have DCE going potentially as well. Joey Manu, Suali'i comes straight back into the team. Mark Nwanga-Nitawase could be back as well. My God. Imagine those three. The next era of Roosters, guys. I'm not the biggest Roosters fan, but that gets me horny a little bit. Joey Manu, Suali'i, Mark Nwanga-Nitawase. So dynamic, so athletic. I'd love to see Manu at 5'8", low-key. Fantastic at fullback, don't get me wrong. But Suali'i at fullback as well. Oh, guys, they've got so much juicy players potentially going back. All smoky chat. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Does one or both Suali'i and Manu come back in 2027? Even potentially at the end of this year. Key losses. So Brandon Smith, he went to the Rabbitohs mid-season. Yeah, bit of contract drama there. Was just obviously got a release. Brandon Smith had some off-field allegations regarding some, what can we say, white substance in Sunshine Coast. Yeah, creatine, that's what it was. Sandon Smith, he's gone to the Newcastle Knights. Handy player for the Roosters in 2025. Played a lot of halfback, played some 5'8", played some dummy half as well. Good versatility. He's going to be a big loss overall, but DCE obviously is a better player. So Sandon Smith, probably, I'm hearing that he's going to be starting at halfback for the Newcastle Knights with Dylan Brown actually going to be playing 5'8", which means Fletcher Sharp more than likely will be back onto that wing. You lost Zach Docker-Clay. He was a pretty big loss as well. I believe, if I recall off the top of my head, he has gone to the Manly Seagulls, being the backup for Jake Simpkin. Yeah, they're probably the two biggest guys to be talking about. Now, the biggest thing we need to be talking about in regard to their spine is arguably the best in the comp, probably rivaling the Melbourne Storm. So Melbourne's got Farlongo, Munster, Jerome Hughes, and Harry Grant. Three of those boys are arguably the best, or if not the second best in their position. Tell you what, Roosters fans, you should be pretty happy with this. Tedesco, DCE, Walker, Robson. That is a potent spine. And you can even chuck in maybe even a Connor Watson at 13 as a linking man. Guys, I want to hear in the comments again, what do you guys think of the Rooster spine? Is it the best in the comp? Let me know. They've also quietly built up a brutal middle rotations. Again, you've got Collins, Lenu, Radley, Nafahu White, Sewell Wong. You got other guys we could talk about with the Butcher Boys. Could be potentially there. Faketi, another guy, young fella. Plenty of depth. No excuses. You got the middles and the edges to do it with the best of them. If not, you are the best of them. You should be laying a great platform for DCE and Walker. Then your deadly outside backs should be putting on tries. No reason you should not be a top 5 in attack and defense. That might be a little smoky chat for the where I predict them later on. Now, 2025 player callouts. Who exceeded my expectations? I've already talked about him briefly before, but Nafahu White, he's an impact forward. Sort of just blew onto the scene. He was in my super coach team in the first few rounds and he was a little bit underperforming. I was like, I'm just going to sell him. He was like 450K. And then literally as soon as I sold him, popped off the entire year. Big body, big motor, big booty. He can break tackles, loves the contact, which I love to see as well. I remember in the Pack Nations, might have been Junior Polo, ran it real hard at them and sort of Nafahu White took a step back and then Nafahu shook his like, let's go, champ, let's go. So Nafahu White, he's their enforcer. He's their big dog. He's their alpha male in their pack, along with Spencer and Collins. Oh, my God, your forward pack is elite. Roosters fans, you are very, very lucky. Only 23 years old, plenty of upside to go. Sewell Wong, I've already spoke about him as well. Just there's so much depth. You guys have so much depth. Could easily be starting in the back row. As soon as there's one guy down, I think Sewell Wong does take that back row position. He will definitely be coming off the bench. Minutes for him, a bit sporadic. How many does he play? Probably between 25 to 40 minutes on a given night, assuming health for everyone. What do you guys think of Sewell Wong's role for 2026? Does he start? Does he come off the bench? How many minutes? Let me know in the comments. Two other boys, and it's fantastic to see them back playing consistent football, but Robert Toya and Billy Smith, two boys who've been devastated by injury. Again, I've already mentioned that before, but these two guys, when they are healthy, are like probably top 10 centers. Billy Smith in particular, I think he was Australian schoolboy representative. He's just been, being cruelled by the injury bug throughout the years, soft tissue, ACLs, but he managed to string off fair few games. I haven't got it at the top of my head, so sorry about that, guys. But Billy Smith managed to, again, was very consistent and very high attacking upside. Billy Smith for 2025, I would give him a 7.5 out of 10 in regards to his overall ability. Robert Toya, if we're giving Billy Smith a 7.5 out of 10, I'm giving Robert Toya an 8.5 out of 10. My God, popped out of nowhere. It was like less than 10 first row games, as I mentioned before. Billy Slater had full faith in him that he was going to provide for Queensland, and my God, he did that tenfold. Again, marking one of the hardest guys in the league to defend one-on-one in Latrell Mitchell, held his own, and being so young, hats off to Robert Toya. Those two boys, you lost Suoliti and Joey Manu, and then literally replaced it with Robert Toya and Billy Smith. So lucky. So much talent. Again, hats off to the Roosters management for locking these boys down and obviously getting them healthy. And finally, but definitely not last and least, is James Tedesco. Won the Dally M medal, aging like fine wine, workhorse. He's the captain, winning pedigree. He's got that dog, wants the ball all the time, and you want that from your captain. You want him to be the best version for the team, and he puts his heart on his sleeve every single week. He's the hardest worker in that team. Great communicator on the field, sets up the defense quite well. One of the best support players in the league. Again, that's why he's a Dally M medal winner. Again, doesn't play Origin anymore, so that's in his favour in regards to that Dally M medal. However, could easily play for New South Wales Blue again, and potentially even be better than their current crop. Because New South Wales suck. Underwhelming question mark. So again, Radley, is he a middle? Is he an edge? Can he stay healthy with his head knocks? Can he not get suspended? Question marks there for 2026. I'm hoping he's just going to be Sammy Walker's enforcer. I don't know about how you guys think about his role there, but I think yeah, he's very good in defense, which then puts less pressure on Walker to make those hard calls. But yeah, HIAs are very scary, and a couple more head knocks could be detrimental to his long-term prospects in the NRL. A guy who also was underwhelming, and again, I think it was only underwhelming due to the fact that his expectation was so high going into 2025 because he had such a good 2024 season, was Gus Bus, better known as Angus Crichton. He still represented New South Wales. He still represented Australia. My God, he looked good for Australia in the Ashes series, didn't he? I just don't know if he got good enough ball, sort of put the offload away. I don't know. There was just something off about, or I guess the eye test for me. Definitely worked hard, don't get me wrong. But there was something in the eye test for me that just made me feel that he was underperforming. Again, on Supercoach was a bit disappointing as well. I want to hear from you guys. What were your thoughts on Angus Crichton for the 2025 season? If I had to give him a rating out of 10, a 7, but I think he was like a 9 out of 10 in 2024. Again, very good in the Ashes. He was probably like a 9 out of 10 in the Ashes. My God, when he gets space, he's terrifying. But yeah, all the intangibles still there. It was just something off for Angus Crichton for me. And then, yeah, they're probably the two main guys that we should be discussing. So my best moment or favorite moment or most notable moment for the 2025 season, it was a huge matchup end round. It was the Roosters versus the Storm. They won 40-10. It was Mark Nwangani Tawase pretty much stamping his authority on the league, scoring 4 tries. This was a pivotal game for them to make the final series. The Roosters scored all their points in the second half, completed a significant comeback. So again, they were down 10-0 at halftime. That's crazy. 10-0 at halftime, and then they win 40-10. Monumental round for them. Again, that was in round 26. If they lost that game, they probably don't make finals. That's the scary thing, guys. You're down 10-0 against arguably the best team in the comp, and you came back and put 40 points to nil at Amy Park, as well as it was Craig Bellamy's 600th game as a senior head coach. Packed our stadium with 21,000 people. You had everything against you, and that showed the grit that you had. But that's what I come back to at the very start of the podcast where I mentioned the inconsistencies. Imagine you could have stringed 80 minutes together. You would have put 60 to 70 points on. Fantastic moment. Pretty much set them up for final series, but again, disappointing that they couldn't continue that monumental effort into the final series. So rookies and players to watch for 2026. Toby Rodwell, I mentioned before, he's a 19-year-old halfback /5'8". He's contracted there to the end of 2028. Most likely takes over DCE. However, he's got a little bit of competition with Hugo Savala, assuming Hugo stays in the halves and doesn't go to a more of a lock position. Robert Toya, technically second year, outside back, signed until the end of 2029. A lot of faith shown from Trent Robinson and management, again with his body with back-to-back ACL injuries. Australian representative, I think it was Tonga representative. Fantastic. Hope he stays healthy for the rest of his career. He's a gun. Foketi, middle forward. I remember one of his first games, he got an offload, broke the line, big sidestep and runs about 40 meters to score a try. He's the ideal modern-day front rower in my eyes. He's big motor, quick leg drive, very low, stocky to the ground. Again, modern-day front rower. Does he get a spot on the extended bench? We'll see. And another guy we want to talk about, again, is Hugo Savala. Pretty hard done by with DCE coming in because he probably would get the starting 5'8" position alongside Sammy Walker. He's there to the end of next season as well. Does he stay on? I know he wants to. I've heard in the media from Fox Sports he wants to stay on. However, what will his role be? Really depends on what DCE's future looks like. Does he get a bench spot? Potentially. Now that Sanders Smith's not there, you haven't got that utility half there anymore. Maybe. We'll see. We'll wait to the top 19. But I want to hear from you guys. Is Savala just a depth piece? Is he the backup or is he unlucky to miss out? Let me know in the comments below. Also, I want to know, is Connor Watson a starter or is Connor Watson just your playing utility? Again, before we get to that top 19, I want to hear from you guys in the comments section below. 2026 draw and strength of schedule. Again, this is according to Fox Sports, so that my regular listeners, you would know all well that I've been going through these in great detail. But according to the strength of schedule from Fox Sports, teams they play twice are the Rabbitohs. They should be better for next year, or this year, I should say, 2026. Panthers, proven guns, will be better for 2026. Dolphins, my opinion, should be way better in 2026. Huge, great roster. Just did their preview. Go check that one out, guys, in our Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Newcastle Knights, can they stay healthy? New coach. Yeah, we'll see. That's an awkward one. Broncos, Premiers, what more can we say? They're the people to beat, the Broncos. Cowboys, definition of rocks and diamonds. Who knows? But again, that's probably pretty favourable. Sharkies, not ideal. Very good defensive team. Almost their kryptonite. Lost to them two games out of the 7 rounds that they played last year. So again, they're probably looking for a bit of redemption, losing to them in the finals. And Melbourne Storm, they've lost Pappenhausen, they've lost Nas, they've lost Eli Katoa, potentially getting Zach Lomax. I made a little reel about that one, guys. Go check it out on my Instagram / TikTok, YouTube reels. But yeah, probably don't reversing the Storm either, but they've got the confidence knowing they can put points on. Again, they were down 10-0 at halftime in a pivotal round 26 game with everything stacked against them, including the Craig Bellamy 600 first grade games. They came back and put 40 points to 0 in the second half. So they've got games versus top 8 teams in 2025. They've got 11. Games versus top 4 teams in 2025 is 6. Games versus outside top 8 teams is 13. Games versus bottom 4 teams is 6. And according to strength of schedule, their difficulty rating is number 15, which is the 3rd easiest draw in the comp. Roosters fans, you should be absolutely cheering. I don't know if you did a smoky under the table deal with the Volandis, but yeah, you should be pretty happy, even though we know AI did it. So we'll see. But again, strength of schedule, very important, particularly a team that gets affected by the origin period, which we'll talk about very shortly. They've got a soft run home. Final stretch includes the Knights, the Cowboys, Tigers, Dolphins, and they finished the season with 3 straight games in Sydney. Pretty optimal, particularly against the Knights, Tigers, and Tigers. I predict the Dolphins will be better, but still a very winnable game. And obviously not traveling. I've piped on this for the past couple of podcasts regarding the other teams not having to travel, but 3 straight games in Sydney to finish off the year. You got the same training ground, you got your family, you got all the familiarity, you got your local coffee store you can go to. Everything can be the same. You should be winning those games, which means high potential for top 4. We'll see. Origin advantage, you got 2 buys during the Origin effective rounds, plus a clash against the Dolphins, who might be Origin hit. Again, you got Hamiso. You're going to probably have maybe Isaiah Katoa, maybe Tommy Gilbert, maybe Flegler, maybe Fene Fuiaki. There's going to be some guys, maybe a Cobo, could all be sniffing around that Origin period. So we'll see. Opportune time for the Roosters, because when we get to that top 19, guys, you're going to have probably a few guys who are going to be out during that period. Tough part, open away to the Warriors across the ditch and a derby with South. So again, South Sydney are projected to be better, and obviously starting the season, they're going to be healthy, ideally. Touch wood for them. But yeah, hard game against South, and again, going to New Zealand, not ideal with logistics, training protocols, sleep, etc. But Warriors, again, should be better. They're getting some guns back as well. Wait for that preview. Also, Panthers, Seagulls, and Sharks early on. Again, we talked about the Sharks being there, a little bit of kryptonite. Panthers started so poorly last year, but I predict them to be better due to the fact that they've got no one really leaving their club, and all their younger fellas are better, as well as Blaze Talangi got another year of development. Plus, they got Storm and Broncos away, so it's a brutal first couple of months. However, they do finish strong. So where it's teams generally in the first, let's say, 8 rounds, focus on their defense, this potent, or should be potent, Roosters attack might be a good opportune time to see if they can crack those teams. Now, projected top 19, assuming that the rule goes through, which it looks like it is. Again, this is, for the people who have not listened to the other podcasts, this is from the Zero Tackle website, from NRL.com, from Fox Sports, and my eye test perspective, plus a synthesized version from Supercoach as well. Now, where I see them, at fullback, James Tedesco speaks for himself. He's the captain. Already gave him plenty of roses, but I'll give him a little bit more. He's the dog. He's their workhorse. Best support player in the league alongside Hammer. James Tedesco, lock and load, number one. Very durable as well. Touch wood for you guys. On the wing, nothing changes here. Daniel Tupou, Mark Nwanganitawase, standard procedure from the 2025 season. Aerial threats, both sides, really strong yardage outside your try line. Fantastic. Couldn't be happy with those two wingers. We've already talked about him before as well, but Billy Smith, Robert Toya, they also hold their position from the 2025 season. What can we say? Robert Toya, origin player. Billy Smith, finally healthy, finally gaining confidence. Arguably very good in attack and defense. Great versatility there as well. You've got consistency and cohesion from last year. What more can you ask, Roosters fan? In the halves, you got Sammy Walker and Daly Cherry Evans. I've actually got Daly Cherry Evans at 5'8", with Sammy Walker retaining the halfback position. Supercoach also agrees with that synopsis, with Cherry Evans only getting a 5'8" only, and Sammy Walker is a halfback only on NRL Supercoach. Sammy Walker's more than likely going to be a goal kicker, and Cherry Evans will be that more off the cuff. I kind of like that. Cherry Evans is a pretty good running game as well. He's really eyes up football. Will be very interesting to see those two work hand in hand. It's going to be a very big off season for those guys. And I think Sammy Walker essentially is the next in line was going to be the next in line for Cherry Evans until the ACL injury happened. He's got a bit of competition now with Tommy Dearden, which is a mainstay there in Queensland. However, yes, Sammy Walker, gun at halfback. Cherry Evans will be that stable hand when things potentially aren't working for Walker. Let's be nice there. In their forwards, I think it's pretty set and forget as well. Pretty consistent from last year regarding their main guys. At front row, I've got Lindsay Collins and Nafahu White, both representatives for either New Zealand or Queensland/Australia. Lindsay Collins, workhorse, experienced, veteran presence, hard nose. Nafahu White, monumental upside with only 23 years old, only gaining confidence and experience. Yeah, Nafahu White is their alpha, in my opinion. He's their pack leader. But Lindsay Collins and another guy coming off the bench aren't too far behind. In the back row, this was easy with Angus Crichton. Angus Crichton, Australian/New South Wales representative. I think he's due for a more consistent overall season. Again, I thought he was still good from the 2025 season. However, I'm expecting big things going off that Ashes Tour performance that he recently just had. Again, he's got a lot to prove as well, coming off contract at the end of this year. Victor Radley, I've got him at second row. Reason being is it frees up that lock position for another guy in Connor Watson. But I'll stick with Radley for a second. Victor Radley, very good defensively, will help out Sammy Walker on the edge. Not as dominant as a ball runner in terms of breaking the line. Still solid, don't get me wrong. But I think it's going to do more so defense. Again, defense is something they needed to work on. They were 8th overall. Maybe if he can stay in the park, get them to like 5th or 6th. At 13, I've got Connor Watson. Okay, he could very easily come off the bench, but I kind of like the look of the bench that I've currently got, with Watson providing a little bit more attacking flair, ruck speed, more of a linking role, bit more versatility, because again, you got two big bops in Collins and Nafahu White, and a little bit less athleticism with Victor Radley, which means Connor Watson can be a bit more dynamo. And I think sniffing around guys like Sammy Walker, Cherry Evans being the link man in the middle, and then getting at the back to Tedesco, it's going to be pretty scary. And at hooker, obviously their new recruit is Reece Robson. Connor Watson can easily spell Reece Robson if need be. Okay, that's where you have the debate where Watson could come off the bench as a utility. However, Reece Robson, 100%, definitely a hooker. New South Wales representative. Fantastic service from dummy half. A little bit of a kicking game. Unreal defense. Very underrated pickup, I think. Very underrated pickup. Now, I've got the 19-man squad, so it means I've got 6 players on the bench. Reminder for the guys who do not know, with the 6-man bench, only 4 of them can be selected. So let's say, for example, the first 4 guys I read, jersey 18 and jersey 19, will then be the emergency subs and will not be played unless there is foul play or multiple head knocks within the game. So at jersey 14, I've got Hugo Savala. He does make my team. He is big enough to play at lock. He can also be your backup half. And also, I think he could play a little bit of 9 as well, if need be. I think he deserves to still be in the squad after a fantastic 2025 season. And he is coming off contract in the coming years. You sort of want to retain him. Probably the best way to retain him is keep him within the main squad. At jersey 15, I got Suo Wong, impact middle/edge forward. Could easily be a first in if a Victor Radley or a Connor Watson is not there. Still monumental upside for Suo Wong. Tongan representative. I think it's just too many guys. There's too many guys on that team for him to get a start. But again, not too bad, Roosters fans, when you get a guy like that coming off the bench. Jersey 16, I've got Spencer Lenu. What can we say? New South Wales representative, international representative as well for Samoa, I believe. Yes, Samoa. He's the perfect guy coming off the bench. He's the guy who's just forwards a little bit tired and then, oh my God, back fence Lenu. Queensland didn't want to do it. Imagine Clubland. So, Spencer Lenu got that dog. Just needs to be a little bit more disciplined. That's his key. Needs to be more disciplined. Too many errors or foul play. More so probably the errors. He gets a bit flustered eye test wise. Sometimes playing the ball too fast because he gets that quick play the ball because he finds his front really quickly. But Spencer Lenu, perfect off the bench sub in my eyes, but very well could start if there's an injury or origin time comes around. But he'll most likely be for New South Wales as well. Nat Butcher, utility middle/edge. He's just a workhorse. You guys know, Roosters fans. Old, reliable Nat Butcher. And his brother as well also makes the bench. Utility forward. Very similar to his brother. Maybe 1-for-1. Is there too much duplicative nature between those guys? Where another guy in the smoky chat we're about to talk about could have a point of differentiation? We will see. I'd like to hear from you guys once we get to that guy, though. And at jersey 19, I've got Junior Tupou, their new recruit from Manly. Utility outside back, can play wing, centre, but easily play in the second row. He's old enough where he doesn't need to develop. He is still young enough where he has upside. Okay, so Junior Tupou, in my eyes, is the perfect 19th man. Now, some depth pieces. We talked about Cody Ramsey earlier on. Young outside back. Probably too much depth there for him to get a crack with guys like Junior Tupou and Junior Pago. Correct my pronunciation there, guys. Butchered that one. But both those two guys have much more experience in first grade, particularly the former, as he was already in the squad. But both those two boys, or three of those boys with Ramsey included, can provide enough depth, particularly with origin time with guys like Mark Nawangani Tawase and Robert Toya, more than likely getting a call up for origin for both Queensland and New South Wales, respectfully. Then next guy, Foketi. So he's the guy where I think Egan or Nat Butcher does not make the team because Foketi provides that modern day front row. I've already talked about him a little bit before, but he's the modern day front rower who has that leg drive, who has that foot speed, provides a bit more athleticism, a bit more dynamism as well in regards to the way he plays. He's like 21 years old. Does he need more time in New South Wales Cup, or can he go straight into the top 19, potentially not even play? What would you, Roosters fans, what would you want? Would you rather Foketi come off the 19th man bench and potentially not play, or would you rather him play New South Wales Cup and keep developing his game? I think the latter, but I want to hear from you guys in the comments. Off the bench or in New South Wales Cup? Toby Roswell, we spoke about him before. Young halfback, 19 years old. He's got a few guys in front of him with Walker, DCE, and Savala in front of him in my eyes. However, if some of those boys go down, definitely could be a sniff to get a first grade debut. More than likely, probably 2027 in my eyes. And again, Hugo Savala, talked about him as well. Fantastic debut season in 2025. Great long-range kicking game. Big body. He's only going to grow into his body. He's still so young. If Sammy Walker or DC goes down, he's my next man up. But he's a very good utility, and he's the bridge to the next generation with DCE either going to retire at the end of 2026 or 2027. Where do you guys want Savala? Do you want him starting at number 13 maybe for over Connor Watson, or do you rather come off the bench? Let me know in the comments. Now, guys, 2026 prediction. Where do they finish? I've talked about this in my other 6 podcasts that I record, but these predictions, in my eyes, for this year, it's so hard. Okay. Obviously, some of you know that I'm a Titans fan. You're probably like, Ryan, you're delusional. The Titans aren't making the top 8. But in my eyes, as we noticed in the 2025 ladder, it was so tight. Like, again, they finished with at 8th place in 2025 with 13 wins, 11 losses, and plus 132. I think they'll still be fantastic in regards to their point scoring ability. I think the defense will also improve due to cohesion and experience within their middles. And guys like Reece Robson coming in and DCE setting high standards. And obviously Robson in his own right being a very fit, strong defender in the middle. That's only going to tighten up their defense. Mark Nwangani-Tawase, another off-season, another year developing as an NRL player. I think that helps them. And again, with their 15th difficulty, which means they got the third best draw overall, ChatGPT's got them as a ceiling as second, and their justification is if their spine stays healthy with Tedesco, Walker, DCE Robson, and Nafaihu White, Lanu, and Collins leading the pack through the middle, they are premiership roster quality. We've said that almost every single year, but they always seem to let us down with their consistency. That's their ceiling. Their floor is 7th to 8th. So if Teddy declines a bit faster than we think, DC shows his age and can't get that back end of form or can't gel with Walker. If Radley keeps spending time suspended or injured, or guys like Connor Watson can't find his groove as a middle rotation, or outside back injuries to Billy Smith happen again, what's going to happen? However, prediction. I've got them actually coming 4th or 5th. Roosters fans, I know you're loving me right now. So there's enough improvement with the new spine, again with Reece Robson and DCE coming in, those veteran presences. I think that's going to help them significantly and be upgrades over Savala and Sandon Smith respectfully. And again, their roster and their depth of their roster is top tier. Super hard. Again, they could be one win from top 4 or one loss out of the top 8. I think the draw, again, as I mentioned in my previous podcast, is so tight and so hard to determine. But I'm confident that the Roosters, with their depth, with their top-end talent, and their younger guys developing, I think they're going to be a top 4 finisher. Roosters fans, are you loving that comment? Yes or no? Let me know. But to finish off the show, a standard ChatGPT cap or fact prediction. Cap or fact, the 2026 Roosters are a lock. Keyword lock for a top 4 finish. I'm going to say fact. Roosters will be a top 4 finisher with, I predict, Melbourne Storm, assuming they don't get Zach Lomax. Actually, I think Melbourne still stands top 4. I'll regate that. I think the Raiders drop down out of the top 4 and Roosters pop into the top 4. That is my prediction. Let me know in the comments, guys. Who is your top 4? Am I capping with the Roosters being in the top 4? Am I over-projecting? Am I under-projecting? What do you think? What are your thoughts on the spine combination? Where does Connor Watson play? There's so much to dissect and discuss. But again, guys, I want to hear from you. Now, that was the podcast. So much to talk about. So much to still find out within the pre-season as well, / off-season. But next up in the mini-series, we have the Penrith Panthers. I think they're due for a big redemption round, and they're going to be pretty salty losing to the Brisbane Broncos. That's the next podcast. Guys, like, subscribe, share, comment. Okay, this all helps me in the algorithm get noticed. Follow us on Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. We're on it. Again, look up Tackles and Tinnies. Tell a friend. I appreciate this. Again, all this momentum that we're gaining in this off-season is really motivating me to do more content, and I love talking footy. And again, I've got plenty of mates who have different favorite teams, and I'm saving those podcasts for them. So a bit more conversation instead of just me rambling on for 51 minutes. But I want to hear your thoughts, guys. Love you all. Appreciate you all. It's January 8th. Probably stuff's going to change as well, but we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.